The crimson moon didn't open until after midnight. It wasn't a rule, exactly, just an understanding. Some bars thrived on happy hours and neon signs. Mine lived in the shadows, pulsing to the rhythm of whispered secrets, low lighting, and the thump of a bass line that never quite died. People came here to disappear, to forget, to sin without consequence. I didn't ask questions. I just served the drinks and kept the peace. But lately, peace had started bleeding around the edges. Literally. It started with small things. A regular named Cassie woke up with 2 puncture wounds on her neck and no memory of what happened after her 3rd tequila. A tech bro from uptown came in for his usual old-fashioned, then didn't show up for a week. When he returned, he looked pale, thinner, and flinched when I brushed a napkin across his collar. Every time I asked questions, I got the same answer. Must have been drunk. They'd laugh, hollow, and too loud. But I wasn't laughing. My name's Maya. I'm not the type to believe in ghosts or demons. But I know how to read a room, and lately, the room had teeth. It was a Thursday when I finally caught her. The place was packed, sweaty bodies grinding on the dance floor, laughter spilling like smoke through the air. I was restocking behind the bar when I saw her. Raven black hair, eyes like velvet laced with arsenic, and a mouth made for sin. She wore a wine-colored dress that clung to her like silk poured over a knife. She wasn't watching the DJ or the dancers.
She was watching me.
My spine lit up like a live wire. I pretended not to notice and moved to the security feed in the back. That's when I saw it. One of the newer girls, curvy, wide-eyed, easy prey, had followed the raven-haired woman into the hallway near the staff bathroom. Minutes passed. The girl stumbled back out alone, dazed, lips parted like she'd been kissed too hard. Her neck? 2 small red marks. I moved fast. Out the back, around the side, and cut her off at the alley exit. She was leaning against the brick wall, licking crimson from her fingertips like it was wine. You think this is a fucking buffet? I snapped. She didn't startle. She smiled. Slow.
Predatory. Finally, she said.
I was wondering when you'd notice. You're far more observant than most of your kind. That's why I've chosen you. Chosen me? I laughed without humor. You're feeding off my customers. You're done here. No, she said, taking a step forward. You're done pretending you haven't felt me watching. Haven't felt that tug.
Don't lie to yourself, Maya.
You felt it. My jaw clenched. You're a vampire. Very good. Her smile widened. Centuries old.
Bored.
Powerful. But you're different. You walk through this world like it belongs to you. You protect it. You burn. I haven't craved someone in decades. And now I crave nothing but you.
I took a step back.
I don't belong to anyone. Not yet, she said, voice silk and steel. But you will. I always claim what's mine. You're insane. No, I'm hungry, she purred. But not just for blood.
For you.
Your fire. Your defiance. Do you have any idea what that does to a creature like me? I didn't. But I felt it. That pull. That ache. That impossible spark in my gut that said run and won at the same time. She tilted her head. Say my name. I don't know it. Yes, you do. You've heard it whispered in your dreams, haven't you? Lilith. Of course. I had heard it. And now that I saw her like this, in moonlight, fangs just barely peeking from her full lips, I knew I was in trouble. Get out of my bar, I said. Or I'll make you. I'll leave, she said, stepping close enough that I could feel the chill of her skin. But you won't forget me. And when you call for me, Maya, and you will, I'll come. Not to feed.
To take.
Then she was gone. Vanished like smoke, like sin, like a secret you try to bury but never can. I stood there for a long time, heart hammering, skin tingling, brain screaming. I should have called the cops. A priest. An exterminator. Instead, I locked the back door, returned to the bar, and tried to pretend that every hair on my body wasn't still standing up. That I wasn't already looking for her face in the crowd. That a part of me wasn't already hers the next night. I told myself it was business, as usual. I wore my favorite black shirt, the one that made me look in control. tied my hair up in a bun that said I had no time for bullshit, told the staff that I was going to be watching more closely, that anyone who wandered off with strangers needed to check in first, that if I caught anyone sneaking off into the back corridors again, they were out. But inside, I was unraveling. I kept scanning the crowd for her, Lilith. Not because I wanted to see her again. At least, that's what I told myself. I needed to know if she was still watching, if she'd meant what she said in the alley. And God's help me, I wanted to prove I wasn't afraid. But the hours passed, and she didn't show. Midnight.
1, 2.
Nothing. The music pulsed, bodies moved. The bar filled and emptied and filled again, and I kept pretending I was present. But the part of me that had burned like a fuse since the moment she'd whispered my name in the dark, that part was listening for her footsteps, watching the door, wanting. It wasn't just attraction. It was something deeper, hungrier. A gravity pulling in my spine. I'd never felt it before. Not for anyone. And I hated it. The worst part? I didn't even know what she wanted from me. Blood? Power? A plaything? I wasn't stupid. I knew vampires weren't just seducers with tragic pasts and velvet capes. They were predators. Monsters. I should have been terrified. But instead, I found myself going to the alley again. Just once.
Just to check.
Just to see. The bricks were still cold. The air still smelled faintly of smoke and night rain. She wasn't there. I was alone. And furious. At her. At myself. At how I couldn't stop thinking about her lips, her voice, the way she looked at me like I was prey and prize all at once. I went back inside and poured myself a drink I didn't need. Whiskey.
Neat.
It burned all the way down. At 3:47 a.m., just before we closed, she appeared. 1 second, the stool by the end of the bar was empty. The next, it wasn't. She sat like a shadow made solid, one leg crossed over the other, head tilted, mouth curved into that same sinful smile. Did you miss me? My glass hit the bar harder than I meant it to. You're not allowed in here. And yet, she purred. Here I am. I told you. You told me to get out, she said, but you never said stay gone. Besides, I'm not feeding tonight. I'm here for you. You need to leave, Lilith. She leaned forward, elbows resting on the counter. Her voice dropped. Why are your hands shaking? I curled my fingers into fists. They're not. Liar. Her gaze swept over me, slow and unapologetic. Do you want to know what I taste when I look at you? I opened my mouth, closed it. She smiled wider.
Control.
Anger. But also curiosity.
Heat.
Something darker. You want to know what it feels like, don't you? To surrender. To be taken. Just once. I'm not yours, I said, trying to sound solid. No, she agreed. Not yet. She slid something across the bar. A napkin. Folded. I picked it up with wary fingers. Inside, a name I didn't recognize and a street I did. Abandoned warehouse district, 3 blocks from here. What is this? A taste of the world you're ignoring, she said.
A nest.
Vampires who don't ask.
Who don't charm.
Who take without permission. They're feeding too close to you, Maya. Too carelessly. If I hadn't intervened last week, that girl you were so protective of, she wouldn't have walked out of that hallway. My stomach turned. You're saying you saved her? I'm saying I keep others away from what's mine. I'm not. You can deny it all you want, she said, standing. But you feel it. The pull. You're not afraid of me, Maya. You're afraid of how much you want me. You have no right. I have every right, she said, stepping around the bar. I moved to block her, but she stopped inches away. You let me in the moment you followed me into that alley. Her breath brushed my cheek. Let me show you what the others won't. Let me protect you properly. From what? I whispered. From everyone who thinks they can touch you. My chest rose and fell in rapid bursts. And what makes you think I'd trust a vampire? Because I haven't taken your blood, she said softly. Even when I've had the chance. She moved past me, vanishing through the back like fog slipping through fingers. I stood frozen. The napkin trembled in my hand. That night, I locked the doors myself. checked the corners, told the last of the staff to go home. And then I stared at the address for a long time. I should have burned it. I should have thrown it away. But instead, I memorized it. I told myself I wasn't going. I told myself over and over that walking into a vampire nest alone, with nothing but a street name and a bad feeling, was suicidal at best and irreversibly stupid at worst. But around 3 a.m., I found myself standing outside the address Lilith had left on the napkin, hands in the pockets of my leather jacket, heart hammering against my ribs like it was trying to escape. The warehouse looked abandoned, long forgotten, windows broken, metal door rusted and tagged with old graffiti. But something buzzed beneath the surface, like the building was humming with something wrong. The kind of wrong that didn't need explanation. Just instinct. I took a deep breath, then another, and told myself it was just curiosity. That I could take a quick look and leave. I wasn't there for her. I wasn't following her orders. I just wanted to see for myself. I crept around the side, past a twisted fence, and found a crack in the wall near the loading bay. Through it, I could see movement, shadows too fast, too smooth, and a heat in the air that didn't belong to machinery or electricity. Someone or something laughed, low and cruel. Then I saw her. Not Lilith. Another woman. Blonde.
Tall.
Dressed in blood-red leather, licking her fingers as if they still tasted of someone else. At her feet, unconscious or dead, lay a man in club clothes. Too still. Too pale. My stomach twisted. I pulled back fast, breath caught in my throat, but I was too loud. A bottle rolled, something metal clinked, and suddenly the woman's head snapped in my direction. "We have company," she said. Before I could move, hands grabbed me from behind. Strong. Inhuman. I kicked, struggled, but I was dragged into the warehouse, thrown to the floor under the flicker of half-dead fluorescent lights. The blonde vamp stalked toward me, lips curled.
Look what wandered in.
A little night snack. "I'm not food," I snapped. "Oh, honey," she purred. "Everything with a heartbeat is food. Let her go." The voice wasn't mine. It came from the shadows. Cold.
Calm.
Commanding. Lilith. She stepped into the light like she'd always belonged there, dark curls tumbling over her shoulders, black leather boots clicking against concrete. The change in the room was instant. The other vampires backed up, but not much. "This one's yours," the blonde asked, tilting her head. "She's breathing. That usually means she's unclaimed." Lilith's smile was razor-sharp. "Touch her again, and I'll rip your throat out." Slowly. The tension snapped. The blonde stepped back with a hiss, but her eyes stayed on me. "She's not marked." "She will be," Lilith said. "Now get out." The group hesitated. Then one by one, they disappeared into the darker parts of the warehouse, shadows melting into shadows. Lilith waited until we were alone before turning to me. "You shouldn't be here." "No shit," I muttered, pushing myself up. "You didn't tell me it was a goddamn slaughterhouse. I didn't think you'd actually come. Well, here I am. Congratulations. You could have died. So could that guy on the floor." She glanced at the man, then snapped her fingers. A second later, someone else stepped out, a vampire, but different. Eyes soft. Younger. He knelt, checked the man's pulse, and disappeared with the body over his shoulder. "He'll wake up with a headache," Lilith said. "Nothing more." "So you really are cleaning up after them?" "Someone has to." "And you?" I asked, unable to keep the bitterness from my voice. "You're just the noble vampire trying to keep the wild ones in check." "Something like that." "Why?" "Because you made this city interesting again," she said. "And I don't want it ruined." "That's a lie," I said. "You're here because of me." She didn't flinch. "Yes. That's not protection. That's obsession." "Perhaps." "You said you crave me. What does that mean?" "It means I want you," she said simply. "Not just your blood.
You.
Your strength. Your rage. The way you stare danger in the face even when you're terrified. I want that. I want you beside me. Why not just take me?" "Because I don't want a pet, Maya. I want a partner." I stared at her. You have a strange way of showing it. She stepped closer. Not touching. Just close enough for me to feel the cold radiating from her skin. I've killed for less than what they did tonight. I didn't because you were watching. Because I know you don't want a monster. But don't mistake restraint for weakness. My voice cracked. Why me? Because you never bowed to fear. Because when I looked at you across that bar, I didn't see prey. I saw fire. And I haven't burned in a very long time. The air between us pulsed. My breath came shallow. I don't know what this is. It's not love, she said. Not yet. But it's something. And it's ours. I stepped back. I had to. My skin was electric. My heart racing. I need to go. Let me walk you. Love what you've seen so far and want to help me keep creating these awesome stories on this channel? Then subscribe and hit the bell. Your subscription supports the channel and makes sure you get more exciting stories. No, then take this. She reached into her coat and handed me a small charm. A coin carved with strange symbols. Wear it. If you're in danger, break it. You're giving me a vampire panic button? I'm giving you a promise, she said. That I'll come. Always. I walked away without another word, but I felt her eyes on me until I was blocks from the warehouse. Back in my apartment, I stared at the charm for a long time before tucking it under my pillow. I wasn't hers. I wasn't anyone's. But the danger was real now. And so was she. For 2 nights after the warehouse incident, I didn't open the bar. Told the staff there was a plumbing issue. Told myself it was precaution. Truth was, I couldn't stop shaking. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw blood on concrete and vampires with eyes like razors. And then her, Lilith. Calm in the chaos. Protective. Possessive. Beautiful in a way that didn't feel human. I kept touching the charm she gave me. I told myself I wasn't wearing it. I just kept it close, like it meant something. I told myself I wasn't waiting to see her again. I was just being careful. But by the 3rd night, I knew I was lying. I went back to the Crimson Moon, unlocked the door myself, turned the lights on one by one. The bass rumbled low through the walls. The shadows felt alive again. I stood behind the bar, running my hands along the worn edges of the counter like it might ground me, and then I felt it, energy shifting. The air thickened. My skin prickled. I turned, already knowing. She was there, sitting at the end of the bar, like she'd always belonged there. No dramatic entrance this time. No fog. Just Lilith, in black, eyes dark and unreadable, watching me like she'd been waiting. You look tired, she said. You look smug, I replied. I'm always smug. And uninvited. And yet, yeah, I muttered, grabbing a clean glass. I poured something dark, not sure if it was for me or her. I haven't decided if I hate you yet. You don't. Don't tell me what I feel. Then tell me. I looked at her. Her gaze didn't waver.
She wasn't taunting me.
She wanted the truth.
Fine.
I don't know what this is, I said. You terrify me. You throw my world off balance. You make me question everything. And worse, I want to see you again. I keep seeing your face every time I close my eyes.
I want to stop thinking about you.
I can't. A breath passed between us, like something ancient exhaling. Lilith stood slowly, walked the length of the bar, and stopped on my side, too close. Her voice was low. Do you think I don't feel it too? You're a vampire. And you're flame, she said. You burn, and I want to be consumed. You fight, and I want to surrender. You speak, and I want to listen for centuries. My heart slammed against my ribs. This can't happen. Then stop it. You're dangerous. So are you. I'm not like you. No, she whispered. You're not. You're better. I swallowed hard. What do you want from me? One moment, she said. One truth. No fear. And if I give it to you? Then I'll wait, she said, voice raw. For as long as it takes. Until you're ready. And if I'm never ready? Her eyes softened. Then I'll burn quietly from afar. But I won't pretend I don't feel this. My pulse roared in my ears. Her presence was overwhelming, her scent like rain and smoke and something darker. Forbidden. My hand moved before my brain caught up. I reached out,
Touched her cheek.
cool, smooth, unreal. And then she closed her eyes like the contact broke her. Lilith, I whispered. Yes. If I do this, I'll follow your lead. I didn't think. I leaned in. Our lips met, not gently, not hesitantly, but like a crash. Like we were both starved. She kissed like someone who hadn't been allowed to want in a very long time. Like I was the only thing that made sense. Her hands gripped my waist, pulling me closer until there was no air between us, only heat and hunger and something sharp beneath the surface. I kissed her like I was angry, like I was desperate, like I needed to feel something real again. When we finally pulled apart, both breathless, her eyes glowed faintly. That, she said, was worth a century. I couldn't speak. I just stared at her, lips tingling, head spinning. You said you'd wait, I said. I will. But you'll want more. Yes. And if I don't give it, then I'll keep giving you protection, she said. And distance.
And time.
Because you don't belong to me yet, Maya. But God's help anyone who tries to take you. My voice was barely audible. That's not romantic. That's possession. No, she said. It's devotion. The kind that kills for you. Or dies for you. My chest ached. I didn't want to believe her. But I did. And worse, I wanted to believe she meant it. The crimson moon had always belonged to me. Not just legally, spiritually. Every inch of it was carved from my blood, sweat, and broken bones. I built it from nothing. Protected it like a wolf guards its den. So when I felt the shift in the air 2 nights after the kiss, when I walked into my bar and it didn't feel like mine anymore, I knew something was wrong. It started subtly. 3 unfamiliar faces seated in the back booth, silent, still, watching. One wore a velvet coat that didn't belong in this century. Another had silver rings on every finger, and the third, a woman with pale eyes like iced-over glass, stirred her drink without sipping. They didn't flirt. They didn't dance. They watched. Everything. Everyone. Especially the exit. At first, I thought they were tourists. Goth kids on a bender. But when I asked Jamie, my bartender, who'd served them, she said something that made the hairs on my neck rise. They didn't order anything. Said they were waiting for someone. Vampires. I didn't need proof. I felt it. Like iron in the blood. Like instinct screaming before logic could catch up. I didn't know if Lilith had sent them. Warned them.
Controlled them.
But I knew one thing. This was my territory, and no one sat in my shadows without permission. That night, I stayed behind after closing. Locked the doors. Killed the lights. Waited. They came back. Through the alley entrance, smooth and quiet. I stood behind the bar, a knife in one hand, the charm Lilith had given me in the other. You're trespassing, I said. The woman with the glass-colored eyes stepped forward. Her voice was silk over steel. We're assessing. This isn't for sale. Everything is. Not this. You run this place, she said, eyes glinting. But you're still human. Humans are temporary. Territory is eternal. Is that a threat? It's an observation. The city's changing. You're sitting on prime hunting ground. Clean blood. Easy prey. Low visibility. It's a gift. It's not yours.
No.
But it won't be yours for much longer either. I didn't hesitate. I smashed the charm on the counter. The air went still. Then colder. Then Lilith was there. Not walking. Not arriving. Just suddenly existing. Behind the woman. Fangs bared. Eyes glowing like embers. You're in my city, she said. The woman turned, clearly not startled. And you're not the only one anymore. This territory is under protection, Lilith growled. Mine. You don't have a claim on her. No, she said. But I have a claim on this place. And you should know what that means. Do you speak for the old houses now? I speak for myself, Lilith said. And that's more dangerous. The velvet-coated vampire stepped forward. We're not here to start a war. Then get out before you do. You're acting territorial over a bar, he said. A mortal business. No, she said, stepping beside me. I'm acting territorial over her sanctuary. My pulse jumped. The woman's gaze flicked between us. So, it's personal. It's sacred, Lilith said, which makes it lethal. The standoff lasted another full minute before they retreated. Slowly,
Deliberately.
the woman didn't look away until the door closed behind her. When they were gone, Lilith exhaled like she'd been holding something back. They're part of a newer faction, she said. Nomadic. Ruthless. Young enough to believe laws don't apply. Old enough to be dangerous. They want the bar, I said. They want the freedom that comes with it. Places like this are rare. You've built something they can exploit. A perfect feeding ground. And you. I'll burn them before they touch you, she said. Or this place. You said you wouldn't act unless I asked. And you called. I didn't call for blood. You called for protection. Maybe, I whispered, heart still pounding. But you didn't hesitate.
Why?
She looked at me, something ancient and raw in her expression. Because I felt you afraid. And I don't want you to ever feel that again. I stepped around the bar, still gripping the knife. You make it sound like I'm yours. You kissed me, she said. You let me in. Not fully, but enough to taste it. And what did it taste like? Fire.
Grief. Lust.
Defiance. It tasted like a soul too big for one life. And you want that? I crave it. I'm still human, Lilith. For now. My breath caught. Don't. Don't what? Don't say it like it's inevitable. It's not, but it's tempting. You want to turn me?
No, she said.
I want to love you as you are. But I won't lie. I dream of what you'd become if you let go of this world's limits. That's not love. That's hunger. Then let me be starving, she said, and still choose you over blood. The silence pulsed between us. I should have stepped away. Instead, I reached for her, pulled her close. Her hands went to my waist, steady and cold and perfect. Our lips brushed, softer this time, slower, but no less intense. I kissed her like a question I didn't know the answer to. She kissed me like she already knew. And when it ended, she rested her forehead against mine. They'll come back, I whispered.
Let them, she said.
We'll be ready. I never asked to be part of this world. I never asked to be claimed by a creature that belonged to another century, to be protected by a predator, or to have my bar turned into disputed territory in some silent vampire turf war. I just wanted to run my place, keep people safe, pour drinks, and maybe sleep 4 hours a night. But after the visit from the faction that called themselves Nomads, after the way Lilith had appeared like a storm made flesh and forced them to back down, I knew there was no going back. The Crimson Moon wasn't just mine anymore. It was part of something bigger. A chessboard where everyone else had fangs, and I had a bar rag and a switchblade. I spent the next 2 days in defense mode, checking IDs, tightening staff routines, refusing entry to anyone who looked even remotely like they could kill me with their stare. I knew it wouldn't last. Vampires like the ones I'd met didn't just give up. They'd be back, and next time, they wouldn't test the waters. They'd burn the place to the ground, or worse, hollow it out from within. I needed information. Not powers. Not magic. Just facts. Knowledge. If I couldn't fight like Lilith, I could outthink them. So I asked her to meet me, not at the bar, but at my apartment. Neutral ground. No shadows. Just me and her and questions I needed answered. She arrived at midnight, as always, dressed in black, hair down, lips blood red. She leaned against the wall like she belonged there, like I was the one intruding in her world, not the other way around. You're avoiding me, she said. I'm managing a crisis, I replied. You call that managing? I call it survival. She stepped closer, slower than usual. And why am I here? Because I need answers. I'm human, Lilith. Just human. I don't have spells or centuries of secrets. I have rent and liquor licenses. And if I'm going to keep this bar, my bar, from becoming a vampire-themed park, I need to know what I'm up against. Her expression shifted. Not annoyance, not mockery. Something closer to respect. Then ask, these nomads, who are they really? A faction of young bloods. Powerful, undisciplined, and eager to take territory. They believe the old order is dying. And you? I believe order is the only thing that separates us from monsters. So, what keeps them from walking in and taking everything? Tradition.
Fear.
But mostly the knowledge that I'll kill anyone who crosses me. That's not sustainable. Neither is war. I folded my arms. Is there a neutral zone? Somewhere we can talk to others like you, ones who might help defend the Crimson Moon. Her eyes narrowed. You want to go to the Accord. I want to know who's willing to fight beside us. Or, at least not against us. She hesitated. They won't take you seriously. Because I'm human? Because you're human and you matter to me. I blinked. That's not an answer. It is, she said. They'll see you as leverage. A weakness. Then let them underestimate me. You don't understand what you're asking. I understand perfectly. I want to keep what's mine. You say this bar is sacred to you? Then let's find allies who'll help protect it. She stared at me for a long time. Then she nodded once.
Fine.
Tomorrow night, I'll take you to the Accord. You'll observe. You won't speak unless spoken to. You'll stay close to me at all times. I can handle myself. Maya, she said, her voice quiet and sharp. You are a beacon in a room full of wolves. And the only reason they haven't devoured you is because they think you belong to me. Do I? The silence stretched. Her jaw tightened. Do you want to? I stepped toward her. Just enough to close the space between us. I want to survive this. With my bar. With my people. With my soul intact. Then stay near me, she whispered. And I'll give you all of it. The next night, we went underground, literally. The Accord wasn't held in a castle or crypt, but in the ruins of a decommissioned subway station beneath the city. The train tracks were gone, replaced by candlelight and silence. Vampires weren't the only ones present. I saw creatures I couldn't name, men with 2 black eyes, women with silver veins glowing beneath their skin, and others whose presence made the hair on my neck rise. Lilith held my hand as we entered. Not out of affection. As a signal. A warning. We stopped before a council of figures seated in a semicircle, none of them entirely human. One leaned forward. Pale, beautiful, and cold.
Lilith, she said.
You bring a mortal to our floor? I bring the owner of contested territory, Lilith replied. The Crimson Moon is under siege. And why should we care about human property? Because the factions targeting it are breaking laws older than your memory. What does she offer? She offers nothing, Lilith said. She demands nothing. But she belongs to me. And her sanctuary has my blood on its walls. That got their attention. A whisper moved through the chamber. Blood-claimed property was rare. Sacred. Protected. I felt eyes crawl over me. Measuring. Judging. But no one laughed. No one challenged her. When the Accord ended, no allies had been promised. But no enemies had risen either. And in this world, that was a win. The problem with shadows is that once you let them in, they don't always knock the next time. I kept thinking the threat would come loud. Fangs, fire, confrontation. But what came instead was silence. Subtle changes. Jamie started showing up late, eyes a little too glassy. Cassie, my floor manager, forgot how to run inventory, something she could do drunk and half-dead on a good night. Customers complained about drinks being off. A couple of regulars stopped showing up altogether. At first, I blamed stress, the pressure, the chaos of the last few weeks. But then I found blood in the mop closet. Not spilled.
Stashed.
A half-empty vial tucked behind the cleaning supplies. Human blood.
Fresh.
Stored like a snack. I didn't panic. Not outwardly. I cleaned it up. Put the vial in a sealed bag. Took it back to my apartment and stared at it until the label blurred. It had a date. Recent. It wasn't from the warehouse. It was from here. The Crimson Moon. Which meant someone had breached my staff. Someone wasn't just feeding in my bar, they were setting up shop. I didn't tell Lilith right away. Not because I didn't trust her, but because I needed to be sure. If I was going to bring her into this, again, I had to have proof. Vampires didn't make light accusations. Not without consequences. So I watched. Quietly. Intentionally. And it didn't take long before I saw it.
Jess.
Newer bartender. Hired 3 weeks ago. Recommended by a temp agency.
Pretty.
Sharp. Too sharp. She never drank on shift. Never flirted. But somehow, she got everyone to trust her. She stayed late. Helped clean. Always knew when to step back.
Perfect.
Too perfect. I saw her outside the back alley after close one night, whispering to someone who vanished before I could get a clear look. When she came back inside, her scent, because yes, I'd learned to pay attention to those things now, was wrong. Like cold metal and sweetness. Vampire. I confronted her after hours. Just us. Bar lights low. My hand gripping the counter, like it might keep me grounded. You've been busy, I said. She smiled, soft and unbothered. You're going to have to be more specific. I found the blood. Her eyes didn't change, but something in her posture did. A flicker of readiness. You shouldn't go through private property. It was hidden behind my mop bucket.
Still.
Rude. I stepped closer. Are you feeding here? Not me, she said. But they're coming. And I help prepare. That's my job. Not anymore. You're going to fire me? She asked, amused. For doing my real work? No, I said. I'm going to give you a message to take back to whoever sent you. Get out.
Now.
You don't get to make those rules. This is my bar. Not anymore, she said, dropping the smile. You're just a figurehead. A placeholder. They let you live because it amuses them. Because Lilith keeps playing human games. But her protection isn't enough anymore. My stomach twisted. You're trying to bait her. We're trying to break her. You're just the lever. Before I could move, she was gone, quicker than human reflex could track. A flash of motion, and the front door creaked open and slammed shut. I locked it, sat in the center of the floor, and called Lilith. She arrived in minutes, like smoke poured into the shape of a woman. I didn't need to say much. She saw it in my face. They've gotten inside, I said. Staff. Feeding. Watching. Her expression didn't crack. It shattered. Who? Jess. She's one of theirs? She said I'm a lever. They're escalating, she growled. If they're willing to violate sanctuary and use you as bait, they're not just challenging me. They're daring me to retaliate. Will you? If I do, she said slowly, others will join. Vampires who've waited centuries for an excuse. You don't understand, Maya. This isn't just a turf war anymore. It's political. Symbolic. You, your bar, have become the line in the sand. Then we hold it. She looked at me like I'd offered her the world. You'll stay? This is my home. They'll come for you now. Not just to feed. To make a point. Let them try. Her hands found mine. Cold. Steady. You are terrifying, she whispered. You are everything they fear. I'm not special, Lilith. I'm not magic. I'm just stubborn. And that, she said, pulling me closer, is power. We didn't kiss this time. We didn't need to. The fire between us was quieter now, deeper. We sat in silence until dawn crept against the windows, knowing the next move wouldn't be ours. But we would answer it when it came. It started the way most endings do, quiet. The night was deceptively calm. The bar was open, lights low, music pulsing like a heartbeat through the floor. The regulars were back, oblivious. My staff moved like they had something to prove. And I stood behind the bar, hands steady, eyes scanning every shadow. I knew it was coming. We both did. Lilith had stayed close all day, lingering just out of sight until the sun dipped below the horizon. She emerged dressed in black, her hair braided back like she was ready for war. Tonight, she'd said. They'll come tonight. And they did. The first sign was Jess, returning after 2 days like nothing had happened, her smile razor-sharp, her eyes colder than I remembered. She didn't ask for her job back. She just sat at the bar, ordered a drink she wouldn't touch, and waited. I didn't approach. I poured whiskey with one hand and gripped the emergency alarm with the other, the one that would send a silent signal to Lilith in the back room. At 1:13 a.m., the music cut out. Not a skip. Not a power surge. Someone killed the sound directly. The lights dimmed further. The shadows deepened. And the air turned cold. I reached under the bar for the weapon Lilith had given me. A silver-edged dagger. Just in case. Then they entered. A dozen of them. Maybe more. Not snarling beasts, no. They were elegance and arrogance draped in leather and silk, eyes like mirrors, smiles like threats. They didn't rush. They moved like they already owned the place. The crowd froze. The staff stiffened. And I stepped out from behind the bar. "You're not welcome here," I said, voice steady. "This is private property." "Not anymore," said the woman with ice-colored eyes. "It belongs to the future. And the future doesn't care about your little rules. This place is protected. She's not here."
"She's always here," I said.
And then Lilith stepped through the back door. A storm in heels. Her eyes burned with fury as she took in the invaders. "This is your last chance," she said. "Leave or be destroyed." "You're outnumbered," someone laughed. "Not for long," she said. And then all hell broke loose. It wasn't a fight. It was chaos. Screams. Flashes of movement too fast for the eye. Tables shattered. Glass exploded. I ducked behind the bar, dragging two of my staff down with me. "Out the back," I yelled. "Go." I stayed. Of course I stayed. This was my home. I crawled out again, dagger in hand, trying to see through the blur of violence. Lilith was everywhere, tearing, striking, a vision of wrath and precision. But there were too many. And then I saw Jess. Coming for me. She moved faster than the others, cutting through the room like a blade. I braced, raised the dagger. She kicked it from my hand. I lunged anyway. She caught me, drove me backward. And then pain. Sharp. Blinding. Something pierced my side. I looked down. Her hand was coated in blood. My blood. I staggered.
Fell.
The floor was cold. I couldn't breathe. Couldn't scream. Around me, the world was a blur. I heard Lilith scream my name. Then silence. Then her face, hovering over me, eyes wide, hands trembling. "No," she whispered. "No, no, no," her voice cracked. "You can't. Maya, stay with me." My lips moved. I think I said her name. I couldn't feel it. Couldn't feel anything. Just cold. "You'll die," she said. "You'll die, and I can't." She looked at me like she was being torn apart. "I didn't want this," she said. "Not like this." She touched my face. "You have to choose. Maya, if you can hear me, you have to choose." I couldn't speak. Couldn't move. "I won't let you go," she whispered. "Forgive me." Then her mouth was at my throat. A sharp, sudden pain. Then nothing. Then fire. My body lit up like lightning had struck every nerve. My heart stopped, then started again, pounding harder, faster, impossibly loud. I arched, screamed, or thought I did. The world fractured. Time bent. I was floating and burning and falling and flying all at once. Her voice echoed through the dark. "You're not alone. I'm here. You're mine now. And I will never let anything hurt you again." Waking up was worse than dying. I didn't open my eyes into light. I woke into silence, so heavy it felt like drowning. My lungs didn't burn. They didn't need to. My heart didn't beat, not the way it used to. But I could feel everything. Every molecule of air brushing against my skin. Every shift in pressure in the room. The hum of electricity in the walls. And one sound above all, Lilith's breath. I opened my eyes. She was sitting in the corner of the room, back straight, face carved from marble. Her eyes were locked on me like I was something fragile or dangerous. Maybe both. "You're awake," she said. "Wasn't sure I would be. I didn't want to do it, but you did. To save you." "No," I said, pushing myself upright. My body didn't ache. It felt too perfect.
too still.
You did it because you couldn't lose me. That too. I touched my side where the wound had been. Smooth skin. No pain. No scar. How long? 2 nights. I was dead for 2 nights.
You weren't dead, she said.
You were becoming. What am I now? Mine. I looked away. Don't.
You made a choice, I said. No.
You took mine away. I saved your life. You ended it. The silence stretched.
Thick.
Then something hit me, a pull. Deep and gnawing. An ache that wasn't pain but hunger. My throat tightened. My fangs, because yes, I had them now, throbbed behind my lips. What's happening to me? You need to feed. No, Maya, no. I'm not drinking blood. You don't have a choice. If you don't feed, the hunger will take control. You'll lose yourself. Then give me a bottle. Animal. Synthetic. Anything but. That's not how it works for the first time. The first feed has to be fresh.
Alive.
No, then you'll suffer. I'd rather suffer than turn into a monster. Her voice was steel. You are not a monster. Not unless you let yourself become one. I stood, trembling. I can't hurt someone. You don't have to. I have someone. A volunteer. Willing. Healthy. Safe. You planned this. I planned to save you. I didn't ask to be saved. No, she said quietly. But I couldn't watch you die. She led me downstairs. The air was cooler. Dim. A woman waited in the lounge. Mid-20s.
Calm.
Her pulse sang to me from across the room. She looked at me, not afraid. My name's Kira, she said. Lilith explained everything. I'm here because I choose to be.
Why?
I asked, voice raw. You don't even know me. Because once someone gave me a second chance. And this is how I repay it. I stared at her. The hunger clawed at my throat. The smell of her blood was intoxicating. I looked back at Lilith. She said nothing, just nodded once. Permission. Or surrender. I crossed the room slowly. Kira tilted her head, exposing her neck. I wanted to run, but I stepped closer. My hands touched her shoulders. Her pulse thundered against my palms. My fangs ached. My body moved on instinct. And then I bit. The first taste was blinding.
Sweet, hot, alive.
Her blood flowed into me like lightning, like sunlight, like oxygen I didn't know I needed. I drank.
Deeper.
Her heartbeat echoed inside me. My skin lit up with warmth, strength, clarity. I could see everything. Smell everything. Feel the world bending around me. She moaned softly. Not in pain. In release. I stopped before it was too much. Pulled back, breath ragged, face flushed. Kira's eyes fluttered, then closed gently. Lilith was beside her in a second, checking her pulse. Still steady. Still strong. She helped Kira lie down on a couch. Then turned to me. And that's when I saw it. Her eyes, dark, dangerous. Not fear. Not anger. Possession. Jealousy. You're upset, I said. I'm not. Don't lie to me. It was necessary. And you hated every second of it. I hated watching you put your mouth on someone else. She saved me. She tasted you, Lilith snapped. She touched what's mine. You don't own me. No, she said, stepping closer. But I've killed for you. I've bled for you. And now, someone else has marked your lips with their pulse, and I can feel it like a wound. I laughed, bitter. Now you know how I felt every time you fed from someone in my bar. That was survival. So was this. She stared at me for a long time. I'm sorry, she said finally. I wasn't ready to feel this way. I thought I'd lost you, and now I have you back, but not like before. Nothing's like before, I said. You made sure of that. Do you hate me? I don't know. But you're alive. I'm something, I whispered. I don't know if it's life. She reached for me. I let her. Her fingers brushed mine.
Cold.
Familiar.
Real. You're still you, she said.
You still fight. You still burn. Even now. I don't feel like myself. You will. And if I don't, then I'll burn with you. Until you find yourself again. We didn't kiss.
Not then.
The taste of blood was still fresh on my lips, and her jealousy hung in the air like smoke. But something had changed. Not just my body. Not just my hunger. Now Lilith wanted me not just as her obsession, but as her equal. And that terrified us both. The crimson moon never closed again. Not after that night. Not after the blood dried and the screams faded, and I rose from the floor, no longer human. What had once been my bar, my sanctuary, had become the front line of a war I never asked to fight. But I was fighting it now. And I wasn't alone. Lilith stayed near me always. Her presence like a shadow I could lean on. She watched me relearn the world, how to move through it without a heartbeat, how to quiet the hunger long enough to think clearly, how to feel everything without being consumed. I didn't ask for her help.
She gave it anyway.
I didn't ask for her touch. But I didn't push it away. The bar was quiet in the days that followed. We didn't reopen. The staff was gone, relocated or protected, some of them with memories wiped clean. The ones who stayed were different. Like the regular named Eli, who revealed himself to be a blood mage in hiding. Or Juniper, the girl who worked coat check, who turned out to be a ward carver for the Fae. I was the only one surprised. Turns out, when the supernatural world sets its sights on you, the strange ones start showing up on their own. I stood in the center of the bar, fingers trailing the old burn marks in the wood, and listened to the silence. You're thinking about them, Lilith said from behind me. The ones we lost. I'm thinking about what comes next. There's a price for survival. And an even bigger one for peace. They won't stop, Maya. The ones behind Jess. The ones who sent her. They've marked you now. Then let them come. I won't let them take this from you. From us, I corrected. She blinked. Us. You said I was yours. You bled for me.
You turned me.
You gave me the truth I didn't want. Now I'm giving you mine. I don't want to fight this alone. You're not alone. Then help me finish it. That night, the crimson moon transformed. We invited them, those who still followed the old laws. Elders, ancients, beings whose names I didn't know but whose presence made the walls shake. Lilith called it a summit. I called it a warning. I stood beside her, no longer the girl behind the bar. I wore black. I didn't smile. My eyes glowed faintly now. I didn't know if it was from the hunger or the power I pretended to have. Maybe it didn't matter. What mattered was that I wasn't hiding anymore. They attacked my home, I said. They fed here. They broke sanctuary. And they used me to bait the one creature who's done nothing but keep them in line. And what do you want? Someone asked. Revenge. Recognition. You're a fledgling. I'm the only fledgling with acclaimed territory, I snapped. And I'm not asking for permission to protect it. Murmurs. Shifting. Tension. Lilith stepped forward. She speaks with my authority. You've broken every rule, one of the elders said. And still I'm standing, I replied. So maybe the rules are broken already. And what would you propose? A meeting. Neutral ground. 1 week from now. The leaders of the faction behind this attack. You bring your blades. I'll bring mine. We end this formally, publicly. If they refuse, then we end it here.
Now.
No witnesses. No mercy. They agreed. Not because they believed in me, but because they believed in Lilith. And for now, that was enough. 1 week later, the ruins of an old cathedral on the edge of the city became our battleground. Cold wind howled through broken, stained glass. The moon hung heavy overhead. Lilith stood beside me in a blood-red coat. I wore black leather and steel. Around us, allies formed a circle. Mages, shifters, creatures who owed favors to Lilith or who simply hated the faction that had tried to tear down our world. The enemy arrived late. Always dramatic. Always confident. Jess led them. Alive. Or whatever passed for it. Her smile curled when she saw me. So you didn't die after all?
No.
And now I'm hungrier than ever. You don't scare me.
Good, I said.
Because I'm not here to scare you. I'm here to end you. The fight was brutal. Not elegant. Not beautiful. Just chaos. I didn't wait for Lilith. I lunged first. Jess moved fast, but not faster than me, not anymore. We crashed through the ruins, blades clashing, teeth bared. She landed a cut across my cheek. I broke 2 of her ribs. Around us, the factions clashed. Magic lit the air. Blood soaked the stones. Screams echoed. And through it all, Lilith never left my side. She fought like she had something to lose. Because she did. She had me. And I fought like I had something to prove. Because I did. I wasn't prey anymore. I wasn't mortal. I was fire wrapped in flesh, and I refused to let anyone take what I had built. Jess tried to run. I dragged her down, pinned her against the shattered altar.
You used me, I said.
You stepped into my home. You spilled blood on my floor. You tried to kill me to send a message. Now here's mine.
Do it, she hissed.
You're one of us now. Prove it. I stared at her, at the blood in her mouth, the pride in her eyes. And then I stepped back. No, what? You don't get a glorious ending. You get to watch everything you built turn to dust. I turned. Lilith was already there, watching.
Your call, I said.
She nodded. And then Jess was gone. One blur of motion. One final scream. And silence. The battle ended with ash in the wind. We stood together in the rubble, surrounded by broken stone and spilled secrets. Lilith reached for my hand. I took it. You didn't kill her, she said. Because that's not who I want to be. And who do you want to be? Someone who doesn't need to be feared to be respected.
You already are, she said.
By them. By me. Even now. Especially now. We didn't speak for a while.
Just stood there.
The wind cooled. The night deepened. And for the first time in weeks, I felt peace. What now? I asked. We rebuild. Together? Always. She leaned in, brushing her lips against mine.
Soft.
No hunger this time. Just warmth. Just us. When we broke apart, I whispered, You said I was yours. I did. Then know this. I choose you too. Her smile was rare.
Honest.
And in that moment, with blood in the dirt and fire in the sky, I realized I hadn't lost my humanity. I had rewritten it. Thank you so much for being here and for believing in this channel. If you feel in your heart, you can donate with super thanks so I can focus more and more on this project. Your support helps me keep creating these love stories and bringing them to life for you. See you in the next video.